Oh no, here we go, telling people about our problems like it's something that they should know again. You act like this paper and pen are your only friend. You need to get a life. You need to go outside. Find something that makes you feel alive. Stop complaining about all your problems and stop trying to hide. Are you high? Does it look like I'm trying to hide? The only person I need protection from is you, and I'm sick of everything that you're putting me through. You want to go outside? Fine, but first, let's take a little trip back in time and let me explain why you are the reason that I feel trapped inside of my own mind. There is a period of time in everyone's life where we just go along with everything and we don't ask why. We don't stop to ask if things are right or fair. They're questions that we should all learn to ask. We all need to take some time to look under the mask, but I never got a chance because as soon as I was self-aware, you had me in a trance. From a young age, I had you in my head. From the time that I woke up to the time I went to bed. For a while, you were quiet and you're subtle and you stayed that way until I remember moving for the second time, but it was really the 10th time, but that wasn't important to you. You never really cared about what was true. It was all my fault, wasn't it? Disregard how I was treated by the adults in my life, ignore the weight of religious guilt on my life, push away the genetic predisposition for chemical and mental imbalance and the causes of habitual strife. None of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was controlling my emotions and securing your position in the same motion. You stepped in when I was vulnerable and I had no place to go. You capitalized on every mistake, and listening to you was my first mistake. You looked at my life and you said it could be better, but only if I could be and do better. But when I didn't do better, she got mad and you got madder. You pushed me down. If I open my mouth to make a sound, you tell me to shut up and listen. Why are you such a terrible person? Why are you such a terrible Christian? It's not that hard to keep your mouth shut and do as you're told. So pick your head up and stop crying like a 2-year-old. So I grew up thinking that I was pathetic, but I only believed it because you said it. Pretty much everyone around me thought that I could be great, but because of you, my proficiency in intellect and artistry had to wait. Every time I did something well, the praise felt fake. If I stumbled, you tripped me and I fell on my face, and you'd scream, why are you such a miserable waste? You stupid idiot, quit your fussing and get back in the bloody race. I thought I knew what abuse was, but she was just giving me a taste. My whole life I thought the problems in my life were my fault. My emotional growth stuttered to a halt. Half of my issues were a result of faulty parenting, but some of the things they did were harrowing. But maybe it was all part of a plan. Maybe I was just a victim of circumstance. I don't know. All I know is I'm sick of it. I can't take any more of it. You're making excuses and I am not hearing it. Failure is normal. I need to learn how to deal with it. I need to do it because no one in my family did. No one ever told me my attempts to deal with my emotions were truly pathetic. I didn't know my life had any value until I wanted to end it. No one could have convinced me that emotions were beautiful, because none of them were beautiful in my own home, and that is where I felt the most alone. We've played each other's emotions like xylophones, words like knives so sharp they cut to the bone. Then you come along and you're like, don't worry, I'm here, they're there, it's alright, go ahead and give in to your fear. Eventually I did, and I've been paying for it ever since I was a little kid. I have just been trying to get rid of you and focus on what is true. It took too long for me to realize that something was wrong, and by the time that I did, we were far too gone. Okay, hold on just a freaking minute. I didn't create your problems, I protected you from them, and don't you forget it. I stepped in to save you because you couldn't do it alone, so before you call up here to chew me out, why don't you hold the phone? You never could have been strong enough to carry the weight of life's complexities, and you would have been crushed beneath the hard truths and the resulting insecurities. So before you step up to me looking for an apology, take an introspective look at where you'd be, because from my perspective, you should be thanking me. You're right. Thank you. Thank you for illuminating everything that is wrong with me. Thank you for internalizing every single problem that existed in my family. Thank you for taking all of my dreams and a personality that was amicable, tearing them apart at the seams, taking me from idealistic to cynical in the span of a single breath. Thank you for introducing me to the thoughts of death. Thank you for keeping me company on those lonely nights by wrapping me in a blanket of lies and convincing me that I had no rights. Articulation was not something that I was missing. Bravery to speak my mind was the fatal omission. Inability was not killing me, it was emotional attrition. So thank you for stealing my energy and disrupting my entire life's mission. Thank you for robbing me of all of my volition. Thank you for increasingly clouding my vision. Thank you for exponentially increasing my inhibition. Thank you for extorting me to the nth degree like college tuition. Thank you for trapping me in my own personal emotional perdition. Thank you. You've had an immeasurable impact on my life, but you really took it to the next level when you started mistreating my wife. That was the moment. That's when I finally got it. I will go to lengths hitherto undreamt of to protect the ones that I truly love. And if anyone lays a single malicious finger on them, I will not hesitate to destroy them. So I began to wonder in a sporadic moment of clarity, why is it okay for everyone to get respect except for me? Why do I love everyone except for me? If it's not okay to yell, hit, scream, push around and manipulate them, if it's not okay to belittle, slander, abuse and intimidate them, if you'd end anyone that did that to somebody else, what makes you think that it's okay for you to do it to yourself? If you would end anyone who did that to somebody else, why would you think that you could do it to yourself? What? What could you possibly have to say? I'm sorry. What? You're right. And that's all I can say. Really? No, not a chance. You don't get to be sorry. Wait, just hear me out, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. I'm sorry I mistreated you. I'm sorry for what was done to you and how I contributed. I'm sorry I hurt you, and I'm sorry I was so deluded. What was I thinking? I guess it really was just all about control. I guess the only examples I had were the ones provided. None of us knew what to do, and all these personalities collided. You have to believe that I did it all to protect you, and I did it in the only way that I knew how to. I'm sorry the biggest issues in your life were the ones I created, and I'm sorry this apology is so incredibly belated. I'm sorry I told you that you were the one that everyone hated. I'm sorry I hurt you so much that your will to live virtually faded. I can say I'm sorry, but there is no excuse. I can tell my story, but protection should have never devolved into abuse. I thought my role was to make you strong. I thought the way to do that was to make you understand why everything you did was wrong. I'm sorry for all the hell I inflicted. You've got to understand that pain and power are addictive. I was at my highest when you were conflicted. All I had to do was bring up all the ways that we were afflicted, dredge up all the shame and the guilt again and again until every single breath was constricted. And every time you screamed for help from your family or church, I just had every single one of them believing that it was just you feeling convicted. And while we're on the topic, here's some sick irony. I was the one who convinced you that you were not holy. Anger, doubt, depression, fear, and anxiety, I let them all in and we took advantage of your apathy. We were on top of the world as long as I was in control and you were unhappy. And that was wrong, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I made you feel like you had to hustle for your own worth. I'm sorry that meaning was something you've been searching for since birth. I'm sorry there's no way I can make it up to you. I'm sorry these things will always be a burden to you. I'm sorry I can never make this right, and I'm sorry I left you alone in the darkest parts of the night. I was wrong, and I know I don't deserve this, but I'm on my knees right now asking for forgiveness. I can do better, I promise. Give me another chance to show you that I'm serious. Gone are the days of the selfish hypercritical, focusing only on the negative, being completely hypocritical. I was right about one thing, I need to protect you, but I got too comfortable and I started to neglect you. Well, no more, that's it, and if I don't change, let's call it quits, but give me just one more sentence. Let me show you that I'm capable of repentance. From this moment on, I solemnly swear I will commit to building you up and pulling you out of despair. I know I've screwed up and I deserve your hate, but I hope we can make this work, and I hope that it isn't too late. I sat there at the kitchen table just letting the tears and the ink flow. This was something new, this was an all-time low. I just had the most intense confrontation, and it all started with a simple conversation. It was as if some veil had been lifted from my eyes, like a burst of sun was tearing through the cloudy skies. I was split in so many different personalities. I was struggling to figure out which one was the real me. I never really considered that there were so many different pieces of me, and I never took seriously the war going on inside of me, and I never truly grasped that I was my biggest enemy. Even if I had never once considered that I owed myself an apology. So I sat there, all alone in a broken chair, the shell of a broken man these demons had to share. And when there was nothing else for me to do, grace broke through, and I finally felt peace and understanding beyond compare. I knew in that moment that because Christ had forgiven me, then now I was truly free to accept my own apology. I was sobbing and my hand was trembling, but I penned the words, "I am truly sorry." I had to skip to the next page because there were too many teardrops in the way, and it was almost all that I could do to finish writing the words, "Daniel, I forgive you."